of the class. All right, recording has resumed. All right, so it decides to join, the new networking groups, so that it can, meet more people. So in doing so, John is able to talk to more people and expand his network of potential buyers, thus creating a solid plan, for success for him to get to $1.2 million in property sales. So that's John. Now we move on to the next use case. So this is improving tax returns efficiency, right? So for those of us that we find ourselves working in maybe consulting, tax consulting and all of those things. So Jessica runs a tax filing office and feels that our staff is not efficient in doing, each tax return, thus injuring the bottom line performance, right? This is Jessica. So she's wondering why are we not meeting, the goal, you know? So the, in analyzing our current state, the current state of the company, right, of the office, the assist, so she found that the average time of our staff, and in analyzing this current state is, the role of the business analyst. You're the one that would, analyze that current state. And then you found that the average time of the staff to complete a tax return is 55 minutes, right? So for them to file the tax, input all the details, make the calculations and all of that is 55 minutes. She compares this to other tax filing offices where the average time is 35 minutes per return. Right. So what is the future state? She sets a smart goal, of reducing tax return preparation time to 35 minutes. Right. So we can see here, that basically the gap now is about 20 because currently they're doing it at 55 minutes. She wants to cut it down by 20 minutes so that they are, filing the tax returns in 35 minutes. Right. So in identifying the gap, she starts to ask why our staff takes so much longer than other offices. Right. So in asking all of these questions again is what we call, elicitation techniques. You have to use the elicitation technique, in interviews, workshops, observations, and all of that, which is a technique in itself. It's part of the whole business analysis course as well. So while she starts to ask all of these questions, she realizes that they are not utilizing all the software tools available to them, that would expedite each filing. Right. So, there are different tools that you can use. So maybe they've been manually calculating and just using Excel and even though there are software tools, that are available for them to be able to, plug in these numbers and then to calculate the tax return, but they are not using those tools, right? In bridging that gap, what Jenica decides to do is to implement a training program, for the staff, to learn how to use those software. So the staff currently have the software tools at their disposal, but they are not using it because they are not trained to use it or they just don't know how to use it, right? So she implements, a training program to teach the staff how to use these resources available to them to shorten the time to prepare each return, right? That's basically gap analysis, and then implementing that gap, implementing the solution, to that gap and filling that gap. Now, there are several, gap analysis tools that you can use in gap analysis, right? We're going to talk about two of them briefly because of our time. The first one is SWOT analysis, and I'm sure a number of us are, familiar with SWOT analysis already, right? So SWOT stands for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, right? So the S, stands for strengths, the W stands for weaknesses, the opportunity stands for, the O stands for opportunities, and the T stands for threats, right? So this process, the SWOT analysis helps to determine the internal and external threats to your organization, right? To see where and how you can stand out against the competition, right? Basically. So when you look at the strengths, of your company, right, or of a process, right? So, I mean, you can do SWOT analysis to compare your company to another company. You can also do a SWOT analysis to compare the products that your company, has in the market to another company's product, right? For example, in an industry like the telco, you would find that, most telco companies will have similar products, right? I would have 20 gig bundle, MTN would have 20 gig bundle, Airtel would also have a 20 gig bundle, maybe of a similar price, of something, that you can compare. If it's in the financial industry, say GT Bank would have their own app, GT Bank app, Zenith Bank will have their own app as well, right? Which you can compare, to see what the strengths are, against each other. Right. So for this, we're just so for you to analyze the strength, you want to check what are the things that we do well, right? What's unique about the organization or the process or the product, right, that you're comparing, right? So what are the strengths for your company? What are the strengths, for the for the product, right? So here there's a use case to say, okay, customer service. Our customer service is world class compared to our competitors, right? Seeing as we have an NPS score of 90, which is quite high, right? So NPS stands for Net Promoter Score, right? So Net Promoter Score basically means, it basically tells how much your customers or how much people, love your brand, how much they are willing to refer your brand or your product to other people. Right. So it's basically Net Promoter Score. This is done, I think, quarterly in most companies. There's a survey, that is given out to customers. Sometimes when you make a call into a customer care, center, at the end of the call, sometimes they ask you, for a survey, or they send you a survey, how did you feel? How likely are you to refer our product, or you refer, this service to someone else, and then you put maybe an 8/10 or a 7. Those are things that fit into NPS score, right? These are done by the industry regulators, right? So in the case of telco, the NCC will be the ones typically, to carry out this NPS score, to measure it. So we're saying that, for our customer service, we are the best, what class, that's our strength. We have an NPS score of 90 out of 100, right? Which is really good. That's our strength. So we want to maintain, and keep that going. Now we move to weakness, right? What could be improved, right? What are the things that could be improved? What resources, can we, leverage on to improve our performance, right? So we're saying, what are the things that needs to be improved? So in this case study, or in this use case, we're saying, okay, the e-commerce visibility. So we're talking about, the e-commerce, use case. Say, the business team have come to you, they want to build an e-commerce website, for Gen Zs and all of that. And maybe the e-commerce website is already existing at the moment, right? Maybe you want to compare, say, for example, you work with Jumia, you want to compare it to Konga, right? To see how we, functioning, or how we performing when it comes to Konga. Maybe you want to even take it, international, to say, okay, Jumia versus Amazon. How do you want to, compare it? So you're saying that e-commerce visibility. So you're saying, as a Jumia business analyst, you're saying our website visibility is low due to our lack of marketing budget, right? With transactions continuing to decrease, right? So maybe the marketing budget, is a bit low. So therefore, there's really no much, visibility on your e-commerce website compared to Amazon, for example, that has, a large marketing budget, and they can advertise, their products, and all of those things. So that's the weakness that, you've been able to identify, as part of your gap analysis. Now, the opportunities, right? So are there market gaps in your services? Are there, some gaps, that you could, leverage upon, that you could feel, to improve performance? And what are your goals, for the year, right? Those are opportunities. You want to check what are the opportunities that are there, for us to leverage on. So an opportunity in this e-commerce use case is that, marketing campaign, in order to improve our e-commerce visibility, we need to run ads on YouTube, on Facebook, on Instagram, and the likes. For a lot of us, sometimes when you log on to Instagram, you just, you're scrolling and scrolling, you just see this a product that is recommended to you from Amazon. That's an ad, right? A lot of budget has gone into that, for them to run those ads. Or sometimes on YouTube, you're watching a video and then it pauses to show you an ad. That's a campaign, right? So that's an opportunity that this particular e-commerce company is currently not leveraging, to say, okay, we can start to run ads, on this, to improve, this weakness, which is our e-commerce visibility. Right. And what are the threats, right? So are there industry changes? What new market trends are on the horizon? So you need to check, what the threat is, to that service, or to that product, or to your company, right? Are there market trends that are on the horizon? Today we have what we call, ChatGPT, right? So a lot of companies, Google, for example, had to run helter skelter, to create their own sort of ChatGPT. So they came up with, bad AI, right? So those are threats. When ChatGPT came on board, it was a threat to Google, right? Because Google is a search engine, and then ChatGPT came on board, and you can literally ask ChatGPT for anything, write a resume for me, anything basically, and I mean, it's going to give you an answer, and that was a threat. So I'm sure at that point they started to, check what are the things that we need to do, to overcome this threat, right? So in the case of this e-commerce use case that we've been talking about, the threat there is a new competition or new competitor, right? So maybe a new e-commerce website, a new e-commerce company has come on board, or let's say, for example, let's say Amazon launching in Nigeria, for example, right? Amazon launching in Nigeria in itself it's a big competition for Jumia, because I mean, it's a threat, and I'm sure Jumia is on the horizon that maybe one day Amazon will probably come to, and they're trying to, prepare their way, on how to overcome that threat if it does happen, right? So new competition with a new e-commerce competitor set to launch within the next month, we could see a decline in customers, right? So what are the things that we need to do, right, to make sure that when this new competitor comes on board, we don't lose our customers? Do we need to, maybe decrease our delivery fees? Do we need to, add new interesting products, add new services on the Jumia website? All of these things are things you now start to ask, right, to make sure that you meet up with that. Now that's SWOT analysis. Now the last tool we'll be talking about is the Fishbone diagram. The last gap analysis tools, right? So we've talked about SWOT analysis. Now we're talking about Fishbone diagram, right? So as the name implies, as you can see, it looks like a fishbone. This looks like, for those of us that love fish, you can see this is the head of the fish, and these are like the fins. There's supposed to be a tail. Some diagrams you find a tail, but it doesn't really necessary. But this is the head of the fish, and these are, the fins and all of that. So it's named for its distinctive shape, fishbone diagram. It's also known as Ishikawa, and that is named after the person that came up with the concept. Ishikawa diagram, a cause and effects, or herringbone diagrams. I think that's a specific, name of that type of fish. The same way we have mackerel, and the likes. I think herringbone is the name of the fish that the Ishikawa himself or herself, try to depict, right? So it explores, the fishbone diagram explores the possible causes of a root problem. So that in performing your gap analysis, you want to get to the root cause, of the issue, right? You just don't want to, okay, this is the problem. You want to get to what is the root cause is actually causing, this problem, right? So a fishbone diagram is basically a cause and effect diagram, right? The possible causes, of a root problem. So this type of diagram will be especially valuable, when examining the current situation, right? So the causes of a root problem are typically categorized into 6. And that's why we have the 6 M's framework for a root cause. You can see here we have problem statement, right? Which is, basically the effects, right, that you're seeing. Remember, a fishbone diagram is a cause and effect diagram, right? The effect you're seeing will be the problem, right? The problem statement, right? We'll come to a use case just to describe this shortly. So the problem would be the effects, what you can see. Okay, you can see that, okay, the company is not making as much money as they want to make. Customers are frustrated when they call into customer care. We're having a decline in customer. That is what you can see. That is the problem. That is the effect that you're having. But what are the causes, right? What are the things causing, that effect? What are the things causing, customer decline? What are the things, causing decrease in revenue, right? And that's why we have the 6 M's, right? Which we have, inspection, material, method, people, equipment, and medium, right? So those are the 6 M's framework, for a root cause, to find out the causes, of an effect. Remember, fishbone diagram is a cause and effect, right? It tells you the causes to a particular effect. Right. So the 6 M's framework, goes first. You have manpower, which is people. So this refers to the physical or mind or knowledge, work of the personnel, the people that actually do, the work, whether they do it physically or they have to use their brain, and all of those things, So those are the categories, right? So then the next one is a method, right? So it refers to the production process or the process by which, something is being developed, right? Maybe the process or the product, right? The process by which it's been developed, that's the method. And then you have machine. This refers to all the equipment, the tools, the facilities that are used, for that production. And then you have material. This refers to, the raw materials that are used for the production, of the final product, right? We have medium, which is the environment, right? This refers to the effect, of unpredictable environmental factors, such as weather, floods, humidity, COVID, that could also be medium, Well, I mean, when it came, it was unpredictable and it affected a lot of things, right? And then measurement, right? This refers to inspections and physical measurements, such as volume or temperature, just standards, right? That you need to make sure that, are in place, for your work. So what this 6 M's does is to point you to possible causes of that effect, of that issue, right? To say, okay, have you looked at the methods? Have you looked at the people that are using this particular, process? Do they have the knowledge? Do they have the skill, the expertise? Are they fit? Have you looked at the equipment? Are the equipment okay? Have you looked at the medium? The environment? Have you looked at the methods that they used? Have you looked at the materials? Have you looked at the inspection or the measurement? Just to check that, to be able to unravel what the possible causes, right? The possible gaps would be. So we have a use case for this fishbone diagram. So an operations manager, at an assembly line at Coca-Cola, we're all familiar with Coca-Cola, right? The famous drink, right? Has noticed, that production is not meeting expectations, right? So let's say, for example, Coca-Cola has got, a KPI, right? A goal, right, to produce 5,000 or 10,000 cartons of Coca-Cola in a month, right? But at the end of month 3, they found that they were producing just 7,000 out of 10,000. Then there's a gap somewhere. Something is wrong somewhere because we've set our goal to produce 10,000 cartons of Coca-Cola, right? But we are only able to produce 7,000. We're not meeting our goals. We're not meeting our potential, right? Our performance, is not up to par, right? So we need to perform, gap analysis and understand why that's happening. So after performing a gap analysis, they find the root cause to be an issue with some machinery. Right now, they know exactly what to fix, to improve production. So for this use case, they have used the fishbone diagram, right, to find out what the root cause is, right? So the effects or the problem statement that they are able to see is assembly line process inefficiency, right? So the operations manager in Coca-Cola said, okay, we have an assembly line process inefficiency. That's what is leading us to producing, 7,000 cartons instead of 10,000 cartons in a month, right? So for some of us that are not familiar what an assembly line is, so an assembly line is basically, so if you go to a manufacturing industry where they actually manufacture and produce stuff, right? All of those lines, that moves, from one point to the other. So you'd have a line, that kind of assembles the plastic, right? The plastic bottles that they use for Coca-Cola, right? So that line that moves the plastic one after the other, it moves it to the next point where a machine will fill the liquid, the Coca-Cola into the bottle. It's going to move it again to another point, where there's going to the cover, the cap of the bottle is going to fix, the machine. Most of these things are automated, right? To cover, the cap will be put on it, probably move it to another point where it is, the label is wrapped around it, it moves it to another point where it is maybe, packaged. That's an assembly line. You're assembling that particular product or that particular, that particular product, right? So from one point to the other. So they're saying that we're having assembly line process inefficiencies. That is the effects that they're seeing, right? That is leading them not to meet up to their goal of producing 10,000 cartons in a month, right? And I mean, they're currently producing 7,000, right? So this is saying that, okay, for us to do that, let's employ, the Ishikawa or the fishbone diagram to check, what the possible causes are. So the fishbone diagram has given us 6 major categories, the 6 methods, right? The 6 M's to say, okay, look at the people, the manpower, right? And try to find out if there's any issue with the people, with the manpower, that is leading to this effect. So we check, okay, do these people, do they have the expertise? Do they have the training? You start to ask these questions, you start to check. Or do we have staffing issues? Are there less staff, or do you have staff resigning, and all of those things? We have a lot of people resigning from their jobs and relocating, all of that. Or do they have the expertise? If they don't, then that's a gap, right? And that's possibly leading to this inefficiency, because if you don't have the training and the expertise to use, the machine and all of those things, or to be able to work in that assembly line, that you're going to delay the process, right? And the more you delay it, the less outcome you would have. The less you definitely won't be able to meet up with 10,000 cartons in a month, right? So it's asking, okay, have you checked the equipment that are being used, right? Are those equipments, are they all automated? Right, so you're checking the equipment to say, okay, want to check, okay, this is automated, okay, that one is not automated, is manual, okay, that's a gap. That manual machine or equipment, then you probably want to put it as a gap to say, okay, we need to automate this process or this machine, to be able for it to be faster, because of course automation makes things faster, right? Machine misuse, maybe some particular staff are misusing the machine for what they shouldn't be using it for, so the fishbone diagram basically just directs you, gives you this template of this 6 method or this 6 categories to say, look into each of these categories. And by the time you look into each of them, you start to, uncover, you start to unearth, unravel what the possible causes would be, to that effect, which is the assembly line process inefficiency that you're having. Look at the medium. Is there workspace cluttering? Is it too tight for people to move? And all of those things. You look at the method. Do the staffs have to stand in a position for long hours? And that could lead to tiredness. And by the time they are tired, they have to, they will be slow, in moving the assembly line and doing all of those things. You look at the material, right? The quality of the resources, right? Is it quality enough? right? So in looking at the material, for example, the plastic bottles that Coca-Cola would use, for example, right? Most of these plastic bottles, would be outsourced to another. They would have a supplier that would supply, those bottles. Coca-Cola itself, they don't produce those plastic bottles. They only produce the liquid. So they would have a supplier that would, supply them with those plastic bottles and all of that. Right. So say at the point of you checking, the materials, and then you found out that, okay, say, by the time the bottles are moving, from moving on the assembly line, by the time it gets to the point where the liquid is meant to be filled into the plastic bottle, right? Say out of 10 bottles, that goes through that motion, that goes through that assembly line, that point where the liquid is being filled, say about 3 or 4 of them, explodes, maybe due to the pressure of the liquid, so the liquid will come in the form of like a tap going into the bottle. So maybe due to the pressure of that, liquid coming into the bottle, it explodes, right? Maybe 3 out of 10. That's going to lead to this effect, right? That's going to, because at the end of the day, instead of you having 10 bottles, go through successfully, you're having just 7, because 3 of them has exploded, because probably the plastic is, the quality of the plastic, has reduced, or can't sustain, can't withstand the pressure. Right. So that's you checking the raw materials, the quality of the resources. So Coca-Cola at this point, or the operations manager at this point, by the time you notice that that's a guy, probably want to reach out to the supplier to say, guys, we noticed that, these plastics are no longer as tough or quality as they used to be, because, we found out of 10 of them that goes through, the liquid filling point, 3 of them, bursts because the quality is not strong enough to withstand the pressure. And that leads us, creating less cartons. Instead of us creating 10,000 cartons, that has led us to creating just 7,000 cartons. This is you assessing the raw material, right? And that is what, Fishbone Diagram does for you. It directs you to do, those categories, those points, to look at, right? So inspection, you want to check, are there measurable standards, right, that are in place? Most companies would have, standards. You say, okay, if this particular raw material does not meet this standard, we will not accept it, right? So if there was a standard in place originally for Coca-Cola, right, to check their plastic bottles, even before, they put those bottles, by the time it's been supplied from the supplier, before they put it into the assembly line, to check that, okay, this bottles, meets the standard. Maybe there's a testing, they put it under a particular temperature, just to test, to make sure that, if that standard was there in the first place, they wouldn't have this issue of, the plastic, the material bursting at this point, right? That effectively led, to this effect, to this assembly line process inefficiency, right? So what Fishbone Diagram does for you is to, direct you to this point, to say, to these categories, look at the people, look at the manpower, they have the expertise, they have the training, look at the equipment that they're using. Is there machine misuse? Is there, are they all automated, or some are automated, some are manual? Do you need to automate, the manual ones? Is there a workspace clustering when you look at the environment or the medium of the work or of the process? The methods that is being used, the materials that is being used, and then of course the standards, the inspection, right, that are available for this, right? So that's basically Fishbone Diagram. So those are the 2 gap analysis tools I'll be talking about, that would have talked about already in this masterclass. So I would hand over to Kingsley or Damilola. I'm not sure who's going to take it from here, but that's it for me. So they're going to take you through, the business analyst program overview. Right, like I said, this is just one of the techniques that you would use as a business analyst. We've got several other techniques, elicitation techniques, process mapping, Jira, and the sort and the likes, right? So this is just, about, say, 2% of the entire business analysis techniques that you need to be equipped with for you to function and work as a business analyst. All right. Thank you very much. Kingsley, are you on the call, or Damilola?
Hi, I'm here.
Right.
Ayubong, you might want to make me co-host. I can't turn on my camera. Thank you so much, Shion. Guys, if you enjoyed this session, I want you to drop a 1 in the chat and a round of applause for Shion. That was an amazing session. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we are hearing you.
Oh, okay. So a round of applause for Shion if you absolutely enjoyed that session. That was very, very enlightening. Thank you so much for coming to share your knowledge with us today. So we'll take one question from one person. If you have a question for Shion, and maybe you need clarification on something, you can use the raise an icon and we'll call you. Just one person. Okay, I'm going to take Sade.
Okay. Hello. Good evening.
Hi,
Good
Tade,
evening.
good evening.
Yes, please. I was going to ask Mr. Sheon, when you're performing a gap analysis like this, say you're not part of that organization, you're like for entry-level people like us, want to build a portfolio doing something like this, or you just want to do it, but you don't have like enough information about that organization. How do you go about that without being like a staff in the organization?
Yeah. In the first place, it's I mean, for you not to be inside the company, it's already difficult, right? For you to get enough information. But what you can do, or what I mean happens again is you've got, the online community, you've got, Google, for example, right, that you can use to perform this gap analysis. You want to find out, how this company functions or how they work, right? So you can pick two companies, research about them. And to be honest, that's some of the things that we even do, internally, right? You want to compare your product or your company to another company. You're not a staff there, right? So what you're left with is to, research on that company, and see how they do their stuff. Another thing is, to use the particular product or service that you're trying to compare, right? So I think one of the things that we did, at some point in MTN when we're trying to improve our customer, our app, is to use Etisalat's, application app, right? Because at that point, Salah was like, one of the best in customer service and all of that. So you want to use it, you want to feel how, the customers would feel when using their app, right? And then you see that it's seamless, by the time you use it, you buy a customer SIM, you do all of those things. And I will tell you this, for a fact, most people that work, or not necessarily most people, the senior folks or the senior staff in each of these companies typically would have a SIM for their competition, or would have, a product from the competition that they use just to compare, right? So the CEO, for example, of MTN, I'm sure has, Airtel SIMs and the Salat SIMs, just to compare how the company is doing against their competition. It's normal, it's valid, it's not against the rule or anything, it's just for you to see how these guys are, faring and against your own product, right? So that's another thing you could do, get the particular service that's, company is using, or their application or their website, go through the flow as a customer, try to understand, how it works and everything. By that, you'll be able to identify what the gaps are compared to, whatever other company you're trying to compare it to. So yeah, those are because you're not internal, you won't have, you won't have the nitty-gritty, but I think, taking the product or the service and going online should suffice, for you to perform the gap analysis you want to do.
Thank you.
That answers your question. Right.
Yes.
All right. I hope that answers your question, Tade. We'll be taking just Tade. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you so much, Shion. So I'm going to pull up my screen and I'm going to very quickly discuss what the data analysis program is about. Shion has pretty much given us one of the processes that we usually do in the business analysis class, but what is it exactly about? Before I start that, Ubong, do you want to bring up one of the persons that we have to? Hi, Ubong, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Give me a second.
Okay, so we're going to be bringing up one of our students who has gone through the business analysis program, and they are going to just in very short minutes share their experience with analytics, how they were able to get started with the program and where they are at the moment, before I then go ahead and share more details about data analysis, business analysis program. So Ubong, whenever you're ready. All right, so while we are waiting for Ubong, let me very quickly discuss what the data analysis program is about. So over 40% of projects fail due to lack of planning. It fails woefully due to lack of planning. So if you're here today, it means that you really have interest in the business analysis program and that you're ready to get started as a business analyst. Now, what is it about? Like what is the total package of the business analysis program? What is the program overview? It is 100% online, meaning you don't have to leave the comfort of your house or take public transport or what have you before you can take this program. It is 100% virtual. Then it's hands-on and very practical. You're going to be working on a lot of case studies in class. Like today, we pretty much worked on a case study, right? So you're going to be working on a case study in class with a lot of exercises and a lot of projects. Of course, you have lifetime access to these materials. So whatever material you use in class, you have full lifetime access to these materials. I'm going to be having 20 classes. I'm going to be treating 50 plus topics are based on Excel, Power BI, SQL, then your BA classes from start to finish. Now, the average salary of a business analyst per annum is 8 million naira in Nigeria. That is about 43,000 pounds, UK pounds per annum. All right. After the data analyst, after the your BA classes, you get to add 3 projects to your portfolio. So you're going to be working on projects, like I said earlier, working on different projects to add to your portfolio. It is 100% job. You have 100% job prospect visibility. BA is a business analysis is a program that a tech career path that really gives you visibility, especially because you're not going to be coding, you're just going to be somebody who's like an intermediary between stakeholders and the tech team. So yeah, we also get to like give you certification. So after the program, you get industry relevant certification. And lastly, the program lasts for 2 months, and then you have 1 month of free virtual internship. The program goes for lasts for 2 months, then you get 1 month of virtual internship. So you're going to be doing classes on weekends, and then at the end of the program, you get to do 1 month of free internship. The business analyst role will be one of the most influential and important roles years from now. This year and years from now. That's from Chris Livesey or thereabout. So this is a this is a role that is not going anywhere. As long as we still have businesses, we still have companies and so on and so forth, they are going to always require a business analyst. Now, like I said earlier, a business analyst is somebody that acts like a bridge between the business ideas, the stakeholders, the business owners, and bringing in business ideas, bringing in business capabilities, creating and scoping valuable changes within the processes and systems of the company, also optimizing processes and basically just enhancing performance within the business. Okay, so business analysis is a rewarding career that helps you to solve problems, real life problems, for interesting problems for different companies or different sectors where you might find yourself. And this course is designed for both beginners and experienced professionals. So if you feel like, oh, I don't have any business analysis knowledge, I don't know anything about it, that is fine, right? So this program is designed for absolute beginners and even people with experience. You don't necessarily have to know anything before you can take this program. It does not require you to have a particular kind of degree or certification. Okay, in the business analysis program, you're going to be covering Excel, Power BI, and SQL for data analytics, which gives you an edge over every other business analyst that are out there. Then you move into the BA proper, where you take project initiation planning and agile essentials. You also get to like do the software development lifecycle part, requirements fundamentals, elicitation, analysis, specification, and approval, talking about requirements gathering, how to even identify the requirements that you need to gather in the first place. Okay, then you get to work on learn the business analysis toolkit, leveraging Agile and Scrum for projects, for the projects that you're going to be working on, because as a business analyst, you're also going to be working on various projects within the company. Then agile online project collaboration, stakeholder analysis, a lot of stakeholder analysis and engagement. You're trying to understand what the stakeholders actually want, so you're constantly engaging them. Then setting up performance measures and leveraging ChatGPT as a business analyst. These are the things that you're going to be learning in the business analysis program. So after this class, we're going to be sending the brochure for you to go through slide by slide to see one by one everything that you're going to be doing. So like I said, Excel, Power BI, and SQL, then project initiation and planning, then agile essentials, software development life cycles, and so on and so forth. Okay, this is like a roadmap for the class that you can always follow to understand what you're going to be doing at every point in time. Now, the BA is the 50% of it. We also have another 50%, which we call the recruitment acts session that we have, right? So this is this includes the CV review session, LinkedIn optimization, navigating the job market, interview preparation classes, then weekly mentorship sessions. So at Analytics, we have something that we call the weekly mentorship sessions, where we bring in experts to talk to you about their own their own journey, and also to help you understand how you can also like raise up for the journey that you have ahead. Then we also like we help you review your CV, right? We teach you how to tailor your CV to help you position yourself for better jobs. Of course, LinkedIn is very important. If you're a tech person, then you want to ensure that your LinkedIn is well optimized. And so we're going to be teaching you how to optimize your LinkedIn. Then we have the navigating the job market session. So we'll teach you, okay, this is where you should go to actually get jobs. These are the sites that you should go. This is how you should apply, and so on and so forth. Then we also have the interview preparation sessions. We have the demo sessions, and we have the one-on-one interview prep sessions, whereby maybe you've landed an interview, you need somebody to walk you through a possible simulation of the session. That is something that we also offer as well. So like I said, it's 3 months learning journey, 2 months of live classes, 2 weeks of capstone projects, and 1 month of virtual internship. Now, for the BA class, we have the morning session and the evening sessions. Like I said, they're on weekends, but the morning session would usually run on Saturdays and Sundays. Then on Saturdays, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. On Sundays, 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. Okay. For the evening session, we have that is 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. Nigerian time, but it is 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Toronto, Canada time. And that's the so this evening session is usually just tailored towards people in the Toronto Eastern time zone. So you can choose to be in any of these classes, right? It does not really matter. Now, as a business analyst, you can explore different diverse profiles. You can be a business analyst, you can be a systems analyst, you can be an IT business analyst, you can be a process analyst. There are so many roles to explore in this business analysis career path. Now, some of the projects that you're going to work on, these are some of the projects that you're going to be working on in the class, right? When you eventually register, you'd get to interact with all of these projects. Okay, so like I said earlier, we have all the additional benefits that you'd also enjoy as somebody who has registered for the BA program. And you can also be a freelancer. We have the Upwork Optimization session where we teach you how to work with Upwork, sign up, how to apply for the different gigs that they usually post on Upwork. Okay, so these are some of your facilitators. You've met Shion already, but this is also Adeza Suleiman, who is the founder of Analytics. He was introduced earlier. He's going to be coming to your classes. This is Linda. Linda is an experienced business analyst with over 10 years of experience. Linda is one of the best persons when it comes to BA, right? She's versatile with requirement analysis, systems, business process mapping, and so on and so forth. Linda is a very experienced person. You've met Shion already. Shion is a product reliability engineer with Visa, and he has over 6 years experience as well. And you know, if you enjoyed this class, then you definitely want to sign up, because Shion will also be turning up in your classes. We have Nene now, who is a product manager in Sapphira Stevenson, UK, and just a lot of facilitators. Now, this is the full 2023 training calendar, and this is so right now, if you're registering now, you're going to register for the October cohort. Okay, so the year is going to an end. You don't want to enter a new year without a skill that you can, you know, up into the new year with. All right, so join the next cohort starting 7th of October. The program fee, the original program fee is £400, which is 320,000 naira if you're paying in naira. But we have a special discount that is currently ongoing. So for the first 20 participants to register, you get to pay £300. Instead of paying 400, you get to pay the discounted amount, which is £300. If you're paying in naira, instead of 320,000 naira, you get to pay 270,000 naira. If you're paying in US dollars, you get to pay 400 USD. If you're paying in Canadian dollars, you get to pay 500 Canadian dollars. And you can also break down this payment. Okay, so you don't have to pay the 300 at once. You don't have to pay the 270 at once. You can pay 200 and then pay 100. That is 1 month into the program. And if you're paying in naira, you can pay 180, then pay 90. If you're paying in US dollars, you're paying 300 first, then you're paying 100 later. And lastly, if you're paying in Canadian dollars, you're paying 350 first, and then 150 later. And remember, this is for the first 20 person to register. Okay, so you want to ensure that you register as soon as possible. This is the account details of the company. If you are looking to take a screenshot or something, but we'll also have a link that will be posted in the chat for you to just copy and directly just pay with. We have the pay stack link, right? Yeah, so if you're making full payments, you can use the pay stack link here. If you're making part payments, you can use the pay stack link here, but it's also embedded in the link that my colleague has sent to the chat. So right now, we are going to be speaking with some people that have registered for the program, just to talk about the experience and if they would recommend anyone to take this program. So Aliu, I hope I pronounced that correctly. Good evening. How are you doing? Thank you so much for coming. Do you want to use maybe turn on your camera so that I can spotlight you? Aliu.
Yeah, good evening. How are you today?
I'm very well, thank you. How about you?
Yeah, I'm doing great. Thank you so much.
All right. Do you want to turn on your camera so that I can spotlight you?
Okay, just a moment, please.
All right.
Hello, good evening, everyone.
Hi, good evening.
Hi, Aliu. Good
Right.
evening.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us today. Okay, so do you want to go ahead and share your experience with analytics so far, and if you would recommend analytics to anyone? Over to you.
Yeah, the experience has been amazing for the quite couple of weeks I've been with analytics. It has been amazing. It has been good. So far, so good. It has been very, very interesting. At least the team has been helping and assisting me. Very few people I've met or have had a cause to chat with when it comes to, this business analysis. They've been of great assistance to me when it comes to chatting, calling, how to do this, how to go about this. You understand? I've met a couple of guys like Ubang, Victor, who has been taking us through the Microsoft Azure and Power BI. We've had those classes done already. And this weekend we are moving to SQL here. So as far as Power BI and Microsoft Azure is concerned, at least to some extent, we are fine now compared to how I was in the time past. So when I joined this team, I've been able to know what Power BI it's all about. Though I've actually had course to work with Excel in the time past before. But Power BI, I've never had any course, to interact with that application. But right now, when it's come to Power BI, I can say at least, I can say categorically that I am, to some extent, well groomed when it comes to that, thanks to the team of Analytics.
Thank you. Thank you too. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Are you able to share any of the projects that you worked on in class?
Okay. Let me quickly log into my system because I logged in via my phone. I don't know if you could give me like 1 or 2 seconds just to log into my system.
All right.
Yeah, just 1 second, please.
Okay.
So
okay,
if I were to recommend Analytics, I would recommend them like 10 times, 100 times, because it's been amazing right from head to toe, From Adeza, the guy was very, very amazing. The first time I spoke with him, that he introduced himself to me, I was, wow, this is someone that I needed to, interact with. Not even knowing that I was going to meet a kind of very good guy like Ubong, Victor, who have been assisting in all facets of this training. They've been amazing. And I hope that will continue.
it will definitely will continue.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So somebody's asking if how do they make payments in Ghana? You can use the PayPal link that has been sent to the chat. So just click on that main stack of me or enroll Analytics, and it will take you to the payments link. So you can like input where your country, where you're from, and you'll be able to convert to the amounts that you are going to be paying. All right.
Can you enable my screen, please?
Ubong, you want to enable a screen? Yeah, your co-host, I think you should be able to share your screen.
No, I'm unable to share my screen.
Ubong is unable to share his screen. Do you want to assist in that aspect?
You should be able to do that as a co-host.
Yeah. All right, while we're waiting for Aliu to share his screen, if you have questions, you can drop them in the chat and we'll attend to it from there. Or you can use the...
Do you want me to share the work I sent to Victor, the one I did that I sent to Victor just to have a look? Do you want me to share it on my phone? Because I can't, I'm still unable to, do this on my system. Let me see if let me see. Just a moment, please. I don't know why I can't. Oh my God. This is.
Okay, while we are waiting for Aliu to share his screen, if you have questions that you'd like to ask, you can use the raise an icon or drop it in the chat and we'll pick it up from there. Yes, so, okay.
Can you see what I'm doing?
Yes, we can see your screen.
Okay. I sent one dashboard to Victor some times ago. I just want to bring it up. Yeah.
Okay.
Can you see?
Interesting. Yeah, we can see this.
Yeah, this is one of the dashboard I did on Power BI that I got to know via Analytics recently. It was done last week. You can see this chart. I sent it to Victor on the 13th of this month, which is 13th. 13th of this month, which is a day before yesterday. That was on Wednesday, I sent to him just to have a look on it. So this is one of them. I have a lot of them on my system, but it is quite unfortunate that I cannot share my screen presently. I don't know what has gone wrong.
It's fine. Thank you so much for sharing, Andy. We really appreciate you for coming to share with us today. All right.
So
thank you so much.
To the participants, I want to encourage you to, participate actively. Try and get yourself involved. You're not going to regret this. It is an action that no knowledge is wasted. You understand? One or two things that you're going to learn here, it will be very, very useful for you in the future, when it comes to this business analysis role. No one knows it all, but at least I can guarantee you from what I've learned so far, I think the future is very, very bright when it comes to this profession. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ali. We are always rooting for you. Thank you so much for coming.
You're
right.
welcome.
So bye. Now somebody's asking if they get the class recording. Yes, so you would definitely always get the class recording. All our classes are fully recorded. Okay, so if you miss a class and you want to go back to it, or the lecturer said something, or you want to go back to the class again, you just want to like check through, we have what we call the Google Classroom, where you would where would always store recordings for you. And I said earlier that you have lifetime access to these materials. So I'm just going to pull up. This is the BA cohorts for August, right? And so this is the classroom. You can see, if I click on classwork, you can see all of the sessions that you've had. I'm just going to scroll down to the Excel class from the beginning. So you can see welcome to BA. This is their welcome kit, their Slack channel. You'd use Slack channels, WhatsApp groups for your communications, then how to install different tools that they'll be using for their class. Then you'd have the onboarding session, then we'd move to the first Excel class, right? So they got pre-recorded videos that we use to teach them concepts about different things in Excel before the class. So this is class material for the Excel class, as you can see. Then this is the class recording itself. So if I click on it, you'd see that it takes me to the class recording, and this was 5th of August 2023. So yes, you'd always get the full recording for the classes, lifetime access. I hope that answers your question. That'll be wisdom. Okay. So somebody also asked if how to pay from Ghana. So if you click on the link that we have here, or the Paystack link that Ubong has sent to the chat, it will take you to the Paystack page, or PayPal rather. I keep saying Paystack. PayPal. So I'm waiting for it to come up. Then you'd see the different programs that we have. So you can always like scroll to the okay, so you can select buy now. So when you click on buy now, you would this is if you're paying full payments, right? If you're not paying full payments, you'll be using the order link, which is the app payments link. Okay, so once you do that, it will convert it for you and you'll be able to make your payments. Modinat, what question did you ask? I didn't quite catch your question from this. Do you want to unmute yourself and ask your question? Okay, for the BA curriculum, do we cover Google Analytics, Adobe Analytics? No, we do not. No. For project management, we use Trello. Yes. For Excel, pivot table, yes. Advanced function is a bit too much for a BA, Business process improvement and requirement gathering, we do cover requirements gathering and stakeholder engagement. Yes, I did mention that earlier. We do cover statistical analysis, regression analysis, hypothesis testing for a business analyst. No. It's not part of. It's not. I've never even seen it in a BA curriculum ever. So, yes, we do have the. So we're going to share this brochure after the class so you can take a deep dive into and see what we actually cover. But statistical analysis is not even, I'm not sure you're going to be using statistical analysis as a business analyst. I've never heard of it before. So I hope that answers your question.
Statistical analysis is mostly used when you would do that mostly in data analysis, the data analysis course in itself, right? So, but what we've given you as part of the BA course is, basics in Excel, SQL, and Power BI, which are, the basic skills that you would need to function as a business analyst. But if you want to learn, I can see things like predictive analytics that you're already going into data science sort of, but, data analysis, and I think there's a course for that separately, data analytics. If that's where you want to major, you can always do that.
Thank you so much, Shil. So thank you for that. All right, I hope that answers your question, Modinat. Data warehousing, you're going as far as data engineering. So you've piled data analytics, business analysis, data science, and data engineering into one curriculum, Modinat. That's a lot. So no, it is not. Data warehousing it goes as far as data engineering. I hope that answers your question. GitHub is data engineering. Okay, so it's
Modena, let me say something. It's like you want to get a $5 million worth of, I don't know, because all of these are, you've like Dami said, you basically learn data analysis, data engineering, data science, all of that into. You need to be able to decide which one you want to major in. You can't.
Hi, can I talk now? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much. Well, I was just asking all these questions because I actually saw, these as part of what BA does, and then I thought I saw something like Git in the BA curriculum because I actually joined the first webinar, and I thought I saw something like Git. You can correct me if I'm wrong. I thought I saw something like Git, like then we'll have access to GitHub. I'm not sure, but I thought I saw it. So that's been said. My next question would be for the data visualization tool like Tableau, Power BI, and Excel or SQL. Do you train us just as a BA, or we actually know the in-depth like a DA? Thank you.
Okay, so we do not offer Tableau in the business analysis program. Okay, so that's for the data analytics program, right? So, but for Excel, Power BI, and SQL, yes, we do equip you with enough knowledge to be able to analyze data as a business analyst. But we will not be taking a deep dive into it because it's not the core tool for a data a business analyst, right? So you have your own Draw.io, your Trello, your Visio. For Excel, Power BI, and SQL are just added advantages for a business analyst.
And just to add on that, and if your focus is on Tableau, but if you're able to use Power BI, you definitely will be able to use Tableau because it's the same. There are different tools, but it's the same thing they are doing, right? It's just the interface that will differ, right? You just need to be able to build your dashboards, import your data. Those are just the buttons is just what would differ, but typically it's the same thing. Just as we have Visio and Draw.io, right? They do the same thing of process mapping, right? Just offered by different companies. Right. So yeah.
Yeah, thank you. But I'm actually joining the October quote and then I've made my payment, but I'm actually adding Tableau to mine because they actually mentioned that in the first webinar we did, and that for people that are doing that, it's actually come with an extra cost though, you know what I mean? So I just wanted to ask, like, what we'll be learning, is it, related to BA, or is it just going to be, like an in-depth for DA? But Dami, thank you for your clarifications. I think I'm fine now.
Okay, thank you, Modena. Looking forward to seeing you in class. All right. So, last question for today. We have Wisdom's iPhone. You have your hand raised if you want to unmute yourself and go ahead with your question.
Yeah. Hi, good evening. I wanted to ask, can we please get a bit more information about the 1 month internship, or is it placement or something? I joined late, but I think you were trying to explain that there will be some form of hands-on practical that, and is it something that you can put on your CV and probably get a reference, or?
Yeah, so definitely, you're going to be having 1 month internship, and it's usually like not a placement, of course, but a joint internship. Okay, but a joint internship with other programs like data engineering. Wisdom, are you still saying something? Okay, so a joint internship with other programs like data engineering, data analytics, HR analytics, and so on and so forth. So,
saying that you did that job. No. I was listening.
Wisdom's iPhone, are you speaking to me? All right, so this is going to be for 1 month. You're going to be working on different projects together, and these are
Okay, thank you.
okay. Yeah, you're welcome. All right then. So thank you guys so much for coming. We look forward to seeing you in class. And Wisdom also mentioned recommendation letters and reference letters. Of course, we also offer recommendation letters and reference letters. So you've gotten say you've gotten a job, you need somebody to write you a reference letter. We do that at Analytics. Same thing for visa reference and all of that. We have that added for our program as our additional benefits. So thank you guys for coming.
Sorry, Dami, I have the last question. I'm so sorry. Can I shoot?
Yeah, just go ahead.
Okay, thank you. So adding to what Wisdom question, I also wanted to ask about this hands-on kind of practicum project thing, because prior to now I have an understanding of data analytics, because I have used Tableau and the rest before in data analytics space, now in BA. So I'm not doing this to kind of come and learn afresh, but maybe the BA part now. So what I'm after is, kind of hands-on practicum projects, then if I'm in the community, even after the 3 months, will I still have access to analytics? Will I still be, have access to engage the tutor? Will I still the facilitator, the, community member and stuff like that? Because, you know what I mean? So
yeah, I get your question. Yeah, so definitely you do have, once, as an alumni, you would always have access to Analytics. If you have anything that you need, reference letter, we have people that did their program last year and they still come back to, do interview preps. So you have access as long as you are a recognized alumni, like we have your records for, should I say, forever. So yes, you would always have access to your facilitators, your data associates, and so on and so forth. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, thank you so much. I'm looking forward to seeing everyone in October.
Same year, okay, same year. So thank you so much, everyone, for coming. It has been an amazing session. We look forward to seeing you guys in class, and yes, enjoy your night. Bye, everyone. Thank you, Sheung. Bye.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.
Is the meeting over? 10 analytics. Can someone confirm to us that the meeting is over? Thank you. Hello, Mr. Michael. Can you please confirm that this meeting is over so that I can leave the Zoom platform? We have like 15 persons on this platform. So many guys are pulled out. So I just want to confirm if the meeting is over or you just asked us to hold on for something to happen. Please, I need a response in this regard. Thank you.